I'm a little fed up, I'll be honest with you. I want to talk to you today about all the lies you're being told about antacids. And considering antacids are one of the most common drugs people take, whether Tums, over-the-counter, PPIs like Omeprazole that are prescribed for them, oh boy, you know, people are on these things for decades sometimes. So let's look at the lies. The biggest one is you're being told they're safe and it's fine for you to be on them for a long period of time, when the FDA approved them initially for 2 weeks. That, you know, so an acute type situation where someone is quite miserable with their acid reflux, and 2 weeks at a time, 2 weeks, that's the approved length of time. Meanwhile, I meet patients all the time that have literally been on these drugs for decades. The other lie is that the only solution, you're told, for your acid reflux, heartburn, or GERD is an antacid. And it kind of makes sense. You go, wow, doc, this burning acid up my esophagus, it's making me miserable. I lie down at night, it gets worse. Can we take away the acid? Sure we can. Here's an antacid. On the face of it, that makes sense. What's wrong with that is the fact that by design, your stomach is a bag of acid. It's supposed to be a bag of acid. And so as soon as you compromise its ability to do its job, you are compromising a lot. So getting back to the only solution, what is the solution? It's not to make the stomach not a bag of acid. Mother Nature, in her wisdom, created all the body parts in a very smart way, and they all work together rather brilliantly. So it's supposed to be a bag of acid. It's just not supposed to be compressed. And when it gets spasmed or compressed, then of course the contents, the acid, has to go up into your esophagus. That's the only place it can go. So that's what's not supposed to happen, is the stomach is compressed. What is supposed to happen is the stomach is relaxed, and it is a bag of acid. So when you're getting to the root cause of heartburn, GERD, acid reflux, the root cause solution is, why is your stomach spasmed? Okay, that's really what it's about. So what happens when you really decrease the acid in your stomach? Why is your stomach a bag of acid? When you swallow your food, there are certain microscopic organisms in that food. There always are. It's not that you're licking the sidewalk, you know, you're not unsanitary, you're eating good food for the most part. And, but there are these organisms in the food. So Mother Nature made your stomach a bag of acid, so it would kill those organisms on the spot. Very protective of the stomach to do so. The other thing that happens is that the stomach is a bag of acid because we don't chew very well, as we all know. And so at the kind of the first destination, the mouth is the first destination, obviously, for your food. You're supposed to chew it up well. We don't. But then it travels down into the stomach, and the stomach churns around that food. Okay, it turns it around, and it's breaking it up. And then when the contents of your stomach leave, the food leaves, it goes to your small intestine. And there are enzymes there that work on carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and break it down further, because it's in the small intestine that the food is broken down so much that then it leaves that small intestine, goes out into your bloodstream, and feeds all your cells. You've got 10 trillion cells to feed. So it's rather important that you're able to turn your food into fuel. If you don't have any stomach acid, you can't do that, because your enzymes can only work on food of a certain size. And if your stomach doesn't have enough acid, the chunks of food leaving your stomach are too large. Your enzymes then can't work on it in the small intestine. And what have you created? You've created maldigestion, malabsorption. So now you're not absorbing nutrients. You're going to get deficient in certain nutrients, and you're not absorbing your nutrients. And so now what's happening? You're creating inflammation in your gut, leaky gut, constipation, diarrhea. All those things are a trickle-down effect of compromising your stomach acid. Why is it that there's a known association with brittle bones or fractures of bones associated with taking antacids? Well, of course, you're not absorbing your nutrients. Your bones are going to get weaker, and you're going to get fractures or osteoporosis. The other thing is the body is very smart. You know, when it's not getting enough nutrition from food, it starts looking for other sources. Bones are a very rich source of certain minerals, and so the body goes, oh, here's some, and it starts pulling from the bone, and your bone's getting weaker and weaker, and then you get osteoporosis or fractures. The other thing is kidney disease is associated with it. Infections, not just that your stomach acid isn't killing the bugs coming its way, but because of this inefficient digestion, you start getting the procreation of more bad bacteria versus good bacteria. So you get what's called dysbiosis, or an imbalance of good bacteria and bad bacteria. This can create anxiety and depression. It can create autoimmune disease. It can create arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease. The list goes on and on. When you don't have a healthy gut, it is impossible to be healthy. I'll say that again. If your gut is not optimally healthy, it's impossible for the rest of the human body to be healthy. And how are we messing this up? By giving people antacids for years on end, instead of appreciating the fact that all acid reflux means is the stomach is spasming. Find out why. That's why we're called Root Cause Medical Clinic, because we find out why. It's very easy for us to get people off antacids. But I met a young lady yesterday. She's only 28. She's been on antacids for a decade. A decade. Do you know there's association, if you've been on antacids for 4 years or more, an association of 33% increased risk of dementia? Dementia, Alzheimer's? Yeah, so now it's affecting your brain as well. We've been talking a little bit the last week about nitric oxide, and nitric oxide being something that's so important that there's somebody was just asking about closed captioning. That will come as soon as I figure out how to do it. But my team, thank you for asking though, that's a very good point. My team does the closed captioning afterwards, so when they kind of take my lives and put them on the channel afterwards in pieces, they have the closed captioning. But thank you, I will learn how to do that and have it for the future. Okay, so what we're talking about is all the dangers of antacids. One of the big dangers, we've mentioned several, but nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is something that we need to keep our blood circulation improved and functioning optimally. So if you have the lining of your blood vessels are called your endothelial cells, and the nitric oxide keeps them really healthy. They also keep the oral bacteria, the bacteria in your mouth and in your gut, healthy. And so guess what happens when you take an antacid? It completely annihilates your ability to make nitric oxide. This is important because nitric oxide is absolutely critical for health, and once we hit the age of 40, the ability for our endothelial cells, again, just the cells lining your blood vessels, gets really compromised. It's down by 50%. With each decade, it's going down, down, down. But our ability to make nitric oxide from what we're eating can maintain if we have good oral bacteria and stomach bacteria. But as soon as you're on an antacid, you've annihilated the ability to have good stomach bacteria. That affects oral bacteria, and now we don't have enough nitric oxide. What does that lead to? High blood pressure, stroke, dementia, erectile dysfunction, diabetes. It's a very long list. So I'm not, this is a lot of information. I appreciate that. But the important thing is that an antacid, a Tums, it seems so innocent, right? Oh, I ate a meal, it was spicy, I took my Tums. If that's a one-off or something, that happens twice a year, fine, I'm really not worried. But as the problem grows more and more, like with this 28-year-old, starting at age 18, she was doing Tums, and then she was doing more and more Tums, and she was doing over-the-counter. Now she's on a prescription, Omeprazole, and she's only 28 years old. This has been going on for years already. She's already into the 4 years of being on a PPI. So there are so many millions of Americans on these drugs, and the result, I'm getting dementia. Is it related to my antacid? You would never think that. My blood pressure is going up. I had a stroke. I have kidney disease. I have diabetes. All these things we know are related to the use of antacids. So I want you to question it. I want you to please share this video. Subscribe if you like the information. Share it with people you know who are on antacids, because it's not difficult to get off these antacids. We just simply get to the root cause of why the stomach is spasming. Usually it's quite a bit of history of digestive disturbances. It's not hard to fix that. I'll be very honest. I'm a very frank, honest, open person. If you're not willing to change your diet, our program is not for you, okay? You have to be willing to make some dietary change. And that's really the problem. A lot of Americans are like, I'll just take the pill, I'll just take the pill. But what if, you know, it was like the Christmas Carol, you know, what if you had the ghost of Christmas future and took you down your life, you know, another 20, 30, 40 years. Said, well, here you are. This is where you are with diabetes, dementia. You have no life, and it's because you took that antacid because you weren't willing to make any change to your diet. That's the truth of it. I'm not exaggerating. So think about it. Let me know what you think. Thank you for the closed caption idea. And I won't see you tomorrow because it's Friday, so I'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend. And yeah, please give this some thought. We would be delighted to help you here at the clinic. Just visit the website. Bye-bye.